All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Just a reminder, if you could make sure that you guys are on mute. I don't know if the host is muted everybody, but as you log in, it becomes active. So what we're going to do is run through the presentation, and at the end, I think we're going to leave it open for some questions and answers that'll go through Joe in the chat section. So if you guys have questions that come up, preload them in the chat section, fire them over, and then I believe she'll be asking me those. So my name is Drew Fearson. I am the Chief Operating Officer for NinjaJobs. We are a platform that allows folks within InfoSec, cybersecurity specifically, to link up directly with hiring managers to help them find new jobs. We also have more advanced services around free agent services and placement and the like, but yeah, so good stuff there. As we roll through this, so the presentation itself is going to cover a couple of different things. One of the things that we want to, and this presentation focuses on, are folks that are looking to break into cybersecurity or are just getting started. And it's going to touch on some popular myths within the industry and the community as a whole. We're going to go through different tips to get yourself recognized when you're searching for a job, as well as tips as you are building your personal profile and trying to figure out, hey, how am I going to get a cyber job if my background might be a little bit lacking in real-world experience. So we're going to give some tips there. We're going to talk about, to do a basic slide or two on resume writing and what the folks that I'm talking with daily on the hiring side from enterprises are looking for from a resume standpoint, as well as general information around the platform itself and how you guys can get logged in and get started. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and roll through this here. Just a reminder, if you just hopped on to mute, you can mute yourself so we can go through it. With intent, right? And what's the intent, right? If you could be a red teamer, right, being hired by an enterprise that basically your job is to hack into their systems so they can identify different vulnerabilities and fix them, okay? There's your traditional hackers that you hear about, which they're generally breaking into and looking for personal information that they can utilize for illicit gains and the like. And what traditional cybersecurity is focused on is preventing those types of folks from getting into internal systems, as well as trying to identify them once they're in there and extracting them and remediating those problems. So not all about the hacking per se, but that is a component of what's in there, albeit just a small one. Super technical people only. Novices need not apply. So again, a preconceived notion that's out there, right? The majority of cyber folks are super techno nerdy types that have 14 computer screens and are chatting with people and diving into systems and writing Python scripts to automate different things, yada, yada, yada. While there is a good portion of the community that is like that, there are other folks that aren't necessarily. And there's a number of different roles within cyber that do not require you to be incredibly technical. Touching on this too, from a technical background, does it help? Yes. If you have an IT background, is that something that's going to give you an initial leg up? Yes, because think about what you're doing here. You're looking at protecting a company, right? An application, a network, a system, and having knowledge of how those things work is going to directly translate into, how you do your job. However, I will say that when talking to people within the community, there's a lot of folks that didn't come from a technical background, right? They come from all walks of life, but the cyber thing, quote unquote, really started out as a hobby. It's something that they did. They had a Linux server set up in their basement. They would try to figure out different ways to mess around with it. It really, the most crucial component to being successful within cybersecurity, and managers tell us this all the time, is that someone needs to have an insatiable curiosity, right? Because you need to question everything. You need to understand that there's different ways of doing things and look at providing a solution to any sort of issue from a 360-degree view, not just one way. Those are the ones that have that mindset and that have a passion for quote unquote cyber, that are the ones that end up being very successful within the industry. So I'd encourage you folks that are out there, if you might be listening or checking in saying, hey, I might be looking to have a career change or just starting off, and is this a field, can I do it? I would say yes, as long as you put the work in up front, and we're going to talk through that as well as we move on within the presentation. We've all seen the stats. Maybe some of you have, some of you haven't. If you haven't, I recommend looking at it. But Burning Glass and DICE have put out reports that everyone's seen that says we're going to be X number of million people short by 2019 in regards to openings for cybersecurity and folks that can fill them. There is a large pronounced gap that's upcoming. And that's why we're doing outreach right now to different programs, to different incubators, to different associations like this one to begin the process of helping out the next generation of cyber warriors, because it's a big problem, right? If you look at that, all those holes that are there, well, that just makes it a target-rich environment for bad guys. And trust me, they're out there, they're looking, they're lurking, they're trying to figure out ways that they can advance their cause at the expense of someone else, of you, of me. So keep going with it. Top secret clearances only is another thing that I hear a lot. That's a myth that's out there. Some of the roles that we see, if they support the federal government or put out there through an integrator through the federal government, will require a clearance, particularly if it's an intel agency, i.e. CIA, NSA, NRO, those types, where yes, there is a clearance that is actually much higher than TS's. You're looking at TSSCIs and various different polygraphs to support those. But a lot of the work that's done out there that's in the commercial sector, for I think your Amazons, your Ubers, your insurance companies, banks, technology companies, there's certainly no need to have a clearance or any of the like to get the job that they need you to do. So that's really, I mentioned, clearance is only a small percentage of what you'll see out there. Now, I'm in DC, so the numbers are a little bit more skewed here where we are, but all in all, that tends to ring true. Okay. Must climb the career ladder. A lot of folks, as they're getting into cyber or just starting off, have pressure that a lot of times is put on them internally or sometimes externally as well, that they need to keep going, right? It's CISO or bust, or Chief Information Security Officer or bust. And that's really not the case. The majority of folks that are in cyber are very happy being practitioners, where they're on the front lines fighting bad guys and combating the hackers and improving the network defenses and the perimeters of the companies that they support. A lot of people don't have the appetite or don't want to go out and manage people and deal with that. So it's perfectly acceptable to find a niche and get very, very good at it and sit there, and you can make a very positive, very lucrative, albeit career, staying on the front lines, helping fight the good fight. we're seeing now, just to kind of give you guys a litmus test, or litmus, I should say, folks that are senior practitioners, right, with no leadership responsibility are commanding salaries anywhere from $130,000 up to $200,000 a year, exclusive of bonus and equity and stock options and stuff of that nature. So, like I said, no need really, if you don't want to go that management track. Technical education required. Again, kind of dovetails into point two, super technical people. You don't need to have a technical degree to be successful in cyber. A lot of the most successful people that I've spoken to, that I've talked to, have random backgrounds. Some of them are poli-sci. Some of them are, some of them are English majors that just got caught up in the internet, quote unquote, and computers and gaming and decided to make it a career. So again, it's a nice to have. People will look at it and say that's a good thing, but it's not something that will necessarily preclude you from getting a job per se. However, if you're looking at getting into something, then I would suggest it doesn't hurt, right? If you're looking to go say, all right, I'm going to get my degree now because I want to do a career switch. Not going to hurt you. Will probably help you, but not 100% required if you've done the legwork, again, up front to build your personal profile, which, again, we'll touch on in the next section of this. All right, quick takeaways that everyone can use. And this is ways that you can look to improve your standing and improve your profile in the eyes of the people that are looking to hire folks in entry-level and mid-level cyber roles. One, certification is key. How are you as an individual going to make yourself stand out above the rest, especially if you are coming into a role or making a career change and there's hundreds of other folks that are trying to do the same thing? I would argue that doing due diligence and doing work up front and going to get a certification specific to cyber is going to grab the attention of someone and put you head and shoulders above someone that does not have the cert, saying, hey, I want to try this cool thing called cyber. So this slide, it's hard to read, and that's by design to show you there's tons of different certs that are out there specific to all the different arenas within InfoSec and cybersecurity. I've found in talking to managers that one of the most ones that stick out and people realize are the SANS and GX certs. Those are good ones to get coming out from an entry-level standpoint because they are cyber-specific and they're well-respected within the community. They have a general security cert, and then they have second-level certs that focus on incident handling that are very, very solid, and they're not too painful to get. Generally will take a week if you want to do an immersion certification, or there's some that you can do on your own time get your certs and do the testing that will get you those certs. So again, here's a slide. You can save it. You can ask questions around it. You can look it up and see. They're very specific in terms of what do you want to get into. There's forensics, right? There's hacking and penetration testing, application security. Even on the PM side, there's need for PM cyber certs, as well as audit and risk management as well. Here's a big one, ladies and gentlemen, join communities. This is a very cool, free, and easy way to bolster your status and help you in looking for a job. When you interview with someone, they're going to say, all right, so you're interested in cyber. What's your background? All right, you say, I've done X, Y, and Z. All right, what else have you done to be active in the community, quote unquote? It gets asked every question, every interview that I've heard, for the most part. And there's plenty around us and around you that would make sense. So first off, LinkedIn groups. Within LinkedIn, there's thousands, maybe millions of different groups, but there are cybersecurity specific groups that are free to join, and some of them are more active than others, but in these groups, if you participate, they have different exercises that you can do. Practice capture the flag exercises, different hackathons, practice code-offs, where you can actually practice real-world skills and kind of sharpen the proverbial sword and give you experiences to talk about in an interview that others may not. Take a moment and think about and kind of picture an interview, right? You're there and they ask you, what have you done? Well, I was in systems administration, but I've done X, Y, and Z. I joined this LinkedIn cybersecurity group that's local. We did 3 capture the flag exercises, of which I was point on one of them. Here's my progression. Here's what I've learned. Here's where I failed. And here's how I think that by utilizing this, it'll be more impactful to the organization. That line of thought and that line of speaking is so much more impactful than I worked in a help desk or I worked in a NOC. I monitored operation traffic, but I'm interested in cyber. Right? You've shown that you've taken the next step and the next level. And the folks that people are hiring out there, remember we talked before about people with insatiable curiosity? This is the type of stuff that they're looking for. Okay? What have you done? What you're curious about something? All right, what have you done to satiate that curiosity? So LinkedIn groups, do your research there. NinjaJobs.org, another community you can join. We'll talk through that later in terms of how to get set up and ways to link up with folks that are looking to hire folks. OWASP, the Open Web Application Security Project, another great free resource that is both national as well as regional, where you can get some really cool things going on, plus some mentorships. There's folks that are in these groups that are senior practitioners that this is where they got their start, and they're always out there looking to lend a helping hand with folks that are just starting out. Because trust me, guys, this whole issue with cybersecurity job shortage, it's real, and it's scary to the folks that are in it now. So everyone is looking to say, all right, well, how can I do my part within the community to go out and alleviate it? Well, I need to help go find the next generation, and I need to help train them, or I need to find this, I need to do that. So there's one thing you guys will find as you progress within this grouping, right, of InfoSec and cyber specifically, is that cyber connects more fiercely and more intensely than any other realm within IT specifically. Why? There's a number of potential reasons. There's a lot of cross-collaboration that goes down in terms of fighting different bad guys and threats. But it's almost tribal to an extent, where if you're in, you're in, and if you're not, if you show the right curiosity and ask the right questions, you will get in. And here's another tip, ladies and gents. If you have a mentor, you most likely will have an easier time getting a job, because they'll know people and they'll be able to make intros and they'll make recommendations. A lot of jobs people get are because of a referral network, and that goes across all spectrums of any job, right? As opposed to doing the blind resume push and hoping it works out. The person that says, hey, I know John or I know Sally from this group, this is some of the work we did and this is some of their group, you really need to talk to them. That is going to resonate dramatically more than, hey, here's my resume, let me spray and pray across a number of different job boards and job sites, and hopefully a recruiter that knows anything will pick it up and maybe help me, or I'll just waste a bunch of time and be sitting on my hands. Put the work in up front, find a mentor, make a connection with some people, and help them help you. The SANS Institute is one of the last ones on here. I mentioned them earlier with their GX certs. A great online learning community where you can go and find out more about different paths to certifications and stuff of that nature. Stay connected. This kind of dovetails off the previous slide that we just talked about. Find a mentor. And it can be in your organization or outside. We were talking about outside earlier, but look within your organization as well. And here's how. I guarantee you within your organization, there is a cybersecurity department. If they're not, it's outsourced, but there's a guy that liaisons with them. Reach out to that person. Be friends with them. Ask them what they did. Ask them what their path was. Ask them how they got involved. by human nature, if people want to talk about themselves. So if you go up to them and say, hey, tell me more, I want to learn. By human nature, people want to help if they're asked for it. It's a psychology type of thing. And someone's going to respond and say, oh yeah, here I go. Here's what I did. They can give you the path, and ingratiate yourselves to them and have them help you out. Meet other cybersecurity experts. Okay, how do you do that? We've talked before about the different groups that it's important to get involved in, but also if you attend local conferences, people are there, and I'm not talking about the big ones like the Black Hats and the RSAs and those like where it's a 30,000 person cattle call. Regional conferences like B-Sides, where they're specific to your area, or there's plenty that are out there. So I would take a look at those, and these folks that are experts are always speaking at these conferences. But there's time afterwards where you can go and chat with them. I mean, I've done a couple of them, and people always come up and say, hey, hello, hi, this is what I'm doing, this is my path. What do you recommend? What do you suggest? There's people I've kept in contact with from those and followed them on their job hunt and helped them out and provided key things to help them go along the way. A lot of these things are free or by design very cheap to attend. So again, putting the legwork in up front, doing the research, and figuring out what's local in your area where you can go and meet some folks. Guess what? At these conferences, they're going to have other things like we talked about, like capture the flag exercises, like hackathons, like lockpick villages, which are highly entertaining. There's different vendor booths. There's people that are hiring. They're all there, and they all want to talk. That's why people go to conferences. Ultimately, is to network. And I'm sure if some of you have gone, you look around and you see, well, there's people that are sitting there hoping someone comes to talk to them because they don't want to talk to anybody, and it's they're kind of getting over that whole icebreaker and that icebreaker mentality. So people there want to talk. They're friendly and they want to help. Okay. Also on here, some different things about how you can follow NinjaJobs. We do post different articles around cyber itself, things that are going on in the marketplace, things that are trending within both the hiring aspect versus career progression, career development, and the like. So there's different ways you can link up with us on there. I will say the Facebook page is we don't keep up with as much as the LinkedIn and Twitter. So definitely I would say check that out. All right, so now on to resumes. So here's, and you can tell that this was an addendum to this because it's a sweet white screen. But resumes are a key thing too when you're going out there, because it's generally, if you don't have a recommendation, which again I recommend fully, a resume is your representation of you, and it's your opportunity to highlight who you are and what you're about. I will say that having done this for close to 15 years, that there's some things within resumes that hiring managers and directors have told me that they like and things that they do not like. So straight from the horse's mouth, here are some of those. Most important thing, focus on what you have done, specifically you. Time and time again, we hear stories about people that have done their resumes and have done the little embellishments, so to speak, of, ooh, I was responsible for this, I did this, I did that. Guess what? It'll get you the interview, but you're going to get questioned on it in the interview. And if you come back to them and say, oh, well, that wasn't me per se, that was someone on my team, and I was on the team, so it was in the periphery, you're out immediately. It happens so often, and it's so disappointing because that person didn't put that and didn't misrepresent themselves in their resume. They a lot of times would have gotten the job, but they became across as untrustworthy. Because you got to think what people are doing when they're reading resumes. They're looking for the first couple of bullet points that make sense and relates to what it is that they've done and what they could potentially do in this particular job. Another point, highlight your extracurricular activities, right? When we say that, that's specific to what we talked about in slides before, okay? Aside from your work, what are the extras that you've done? Do you have a Linux server in your basement that you like to mess around with on weekends? Are you a member of a local hacking group or a local code dev group or a local cyber group? If you're a member, what have you done to be involved? Because it's very easy to say, I'm a member of this, this, and this, and not do anything with it. Any Yahoo can do that. But who do you know there? Who have you met? There may be 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, or maybe it'll be 1 or 2, where someone will know someone and they'll be able to make a recommendation. Plus, people feel more comfortable saying, all right, again, this person is curious. They've gone the extra step. Okay? So definitely something worth looking at. Stay away from being cute. This is one of the fun ones. A lot of times we'll see resumes that have pictures or that have random formats and random text boxes and random this and random that, random colors. Stay away from it. Again, this is my personal opinion, but it comes across as distracting and a bit tacky to an extent. People like resumes to be very crisp, concise, and to the point. Getting more granular, use the same font throughout all of it for the love of God. Don't do New Times Roman and then go to Calibri and go to something else, Courier. Stick with one font. Use 2 sizes. Your name, your title, the company that you're at, and the date should be 1 font. The fonts for the bullet points should be 1 size below that. It's nice to the eyes. There's been studies that have been done on it. It doesn't come across as too noisy. It comes across as crisp and concise. The bullet points. The bullet points themselves, in regards to the role in terms of what you've done, should be specific to the most relevant parts of your job and the responsibilities. Okay? So, if you were on a help desk, let's say, all right, what's bullet point 1? Responsible for upholding this SLA and answered X number of calls within this time period and resolved X number of tickets within this time period. Very specific to the point of what you did. Okay? Not was part of help desk and provided this support to the organization. That's understood. The first one needs to hit home and strike at the heart of what you're doing. Here's why. Us as recruiters and people that are reading your resumes are trained a certain way to read the resumes. Newsflash, people don't read every single bullet point. It's rare. They skim. They look at your name. They look at the company. They look at the title to see if it applies, and they read the first 2 or 3 bullet points and then go to the next job. It's unfortunate, but that's how it is, and that's how people are trained. So give your most bang for your buck in the first couple bullet points, because those are the ones that are surely going to be read, and that's your opportunity to hook people to get them to be more interested in you. Last bullet point, focus on what you've done. Same as the first one, because it's that important. I don't want to hear or see people get caught embellishing. Focus on what you yourself are done and what you can speak to specifically in an interview. Cannot stress how important that is. The platform, how to sign up. So specific to NinjaJobs, and it's ninjajobs.org, but I do think .com will route to it. We've opened it up to make it free to register now, or not free. Before you needed an invite code to register. For folks that are in National Cyber Watch, what we're doing is we're going to be notating you guys as specific to this program. The reason being, there are a couple fold, right? It's going to allow us to track the success of what you've been doing, and it's also going to alert the hiring managers within the platform that this is a resource that can potentially come in and fill a role with a little bit of training at a more value to them, to the organization from a dollar perspective. Okay, there is a little bit of a burnout from managers that are paying these, multi-$100,000 a year salaries to rock stars. And the theme that I've been hearing as companies are doing their year-end planning and extrapolating out their hiring plans for 2017 is value hiring. They're looking to find more roles that are eyes on glass, like your SOC roles, which are entry to mid-levels, because threat intelligence platforms are being automated and orchestrated. So that's a good thing for everyone that should be on this call, because it's specific to your group. So one of two ways that we can do this, right? You guys, again, can go on and log on and sign up now, and then send me a note to my email address, which is on the platform, or the request saying you're specifically a National Cyber Watch member. and we'll get you a badge that notates as such online. Or I think Joe and the folks that are there can actually, we'll send them a link that is an invite that they can send out to the group itself with mass email blast, which will be specific to the group. Okay, so keep an eye out for that as well, and that should be coming down the pipe. But again, very easy to sign up, very easy to navigate. What you're going to see in there when you log in is 300 jobs across the country and across the globe too, that are very cyber specific, all levels, anything from VP on down to entry level, all across the country, all manners of companies, with hiring managers that are looking for good people. I would encourage you, when you do sign up, to apply to jobs that are probably more entry to mid-level, and to stay away from the ones that are VP and director jobs, because to be honest, that's not going to happen. But we are going to start, like I mentioned, kind of putting this out there that, hey, here's some hires that are coming in from this group that are worth taking a look at, okay? But just be cognizant of not spamming the entire list of and applying. Take a look at the job, look at if it's something that interests you, something that it might touch with your background, and go from there, okay? And that's it. So that's the presentation, everybody. Again, I appreciate all of your all's time for joining and listening to what we have to say. We and I are always here to help, and just wanted to see if anybody has any questions around some of this content within the slides or anything else specific. I mean, like I said, I'm here to help and answer any specific questions that anybody may have. And as well, too, if no one has anything specific, you're also able to ping me offline, and we can go through it. I'm happy to be there and assist in that nature as well. All right, let me see this one. Can you please repeat what you mentioned about the platform? Okay, so Gustavo, so the platform itself, there's going to be two ways that you'll be able to register. You can go on and log on yourself, current state right now, and sign up to ninjajobs.org, or we're also going to be sending a link out that will come out from Dr. Portillo and some of the others. It will be a specific link to the grouping itself, and it'll get you logged in and registered. Okay? Let's see. On a resume, is it okay to place keywords in bold? Traditionally, that is frowned upon for keywords. What I would recommend, though, it's okay to bold the company and the title and the dates that you were there to make it stand out, as well as any headers. But what I found in reading through, if you bold too many words, people get kind of confused and lost. Maybe a couple is okay, but I would advise sticking with the bullet format. Again, there's different ways to do it, but that's the way that I've found that works best. Here's another one, more specific to the National Cyber Center for Educational Institutions, is the membership for it, for institutions or individuals. I'll let Dr. Portillo and the other ones answer that specifically. Let's see. Which is better, an online mentor or an in-person mentor? Both are okay, right? Because an online mentor is going to, I mean, within cyber and within these groups that we're talking about, right, you're going to have people that are online mentors. People are going to be doing code reviews with you. They're going to be all across the country. So you might not be able to have it be a scenario where you get to meet them in person. Or there's someone that's local. Either are good, as long as you establish a rapport with them and get them to see kind of your value and you to them, the same thing that you want to show them that you care and that you're going to represent them out there to the best of your ability. Cool. All right. See what else we got. Specific and looking to get more info about an ISSO role. been having a hard time finding typical interview questions for this role. Any tips? Farida, let's take that one offline. I can give you specific guidance on that. And let me give everybody my email address so you can hit that up. It's D as in David or Drew, Fearson, F as in Frank, P-A-R-S-O-N at NinjaJobs.org. You can see it down at the bottom of the slide right there. So hit me up on specific job questions on that. Okay? Let's see what we got here. There's that. Everyone, sorry guys, just scanning through this. I think that's all of them. Any other questions out there, guys? Cool. All right, good deal. Well, thank you guys again so much for joining. Like I mentioned, feel free to hit me up outside of this. I'm always here, always happy and excited to help at no matter what stage of your career you're in, because we've all been there. And if everyone starts out somewhere, and time to start could be now. So thank you guys. Have a good one.